Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the program. Today we are in London. As you know, last week terrorist activities visited London, and 52 people also are reported to have died. President Kufuor has been in Gleneagles here in the UK to join African leaders to meet with the G8, and they received quite a handsome reward for Africa. We'll be discussing that as well. And Ghana Airways still has offices in London and assets in London. What's happened to them? And Ghana International Bank in London. My guest, you can imagine, of course, is His Excellency Isaac Osei, the Ghana's High Commissioner here in London. Sit tight and let's enjoy the interview. Welcome, sir, to the program.
And welcome to London.
Thank you very much. How did you hear of the bomb blast last Thursday?
Well, I was on my way from my residence to my office, and I normally use Edgware Road. Just before the station, I was directed by police officers to turn off on the Maribon Road because they were putting up barriers. We immediately turned our radio on and realized that something had happened at the Edgware Road station and then Aldgate East station. It was thought at that time that it was a power surge which had led to some explosions. However, we learned even before we got to the office that there have been other explosions, and we immediately realized that it probably was terrorist bombing of certain specific areas of London. It was an attack on the London transport system.
We understand that some Ghanaians were involved, is that correct?
Well, you know, London is a world city and very cosmopolitan. So all nationalities are here. All religious groups are here in London. So the attack, certainly there would have been some Ghanaians going to work on some of the trains. We have so far learned that there's one Ghanaian who has not been seen since that fateful day. And the husband reported this to the police. Her photographs have been shown in the press, and we are hoping that she is not one of the 52 fatalities, but as yet we cannot confirm whether she's died or not. All we know is that she's missing, but we are in touch, you know, as a mission ought to be, with the husband, and we're doing all we can through our consular section to ensure that whatever information the police have to give, we will receive this information and pass it on to the family before we come to the public.
Airline Ghana Airways, it's no longer running. There's problem with the workers. They're almost in courts trying to seek something against the airline. I'm sure you have also been concerned. What's happening to Ghana Airways UK, if I may call it?
Well, there's no Ghana Airways UK. I know Ghana Airways is a company incorporated in Ghana, so I have no doubt that you probably have more information about Ghana Airways than I do. But I do know that Ghana Airways has an office here. My understanding is that Ghana Airways is being wound down, and therefore, in due course, we will not have Ghana Airways in London. Yes, there are some assets, but it will be taken up in this process of winding up, which is ongoing. And at the moment, I think the best place for more information on Ghana Airways will be the Ghana Airways Task Force or the Ghana Airways head office in Accra, or the minister responsible for aviation, or the Ministry of Transport, the aviation division.
Have the staff been in touch with you to say one thing or the other?
No, Ghana Airways staff have not been in touch with us, but we are here ready to assist any parastatal which has problems. But you will understand that it is not the frontline duty of the Ghana High Commission to manage or take care of the affairs of the parastatals. We only assist them and facilitate their work.
Business. A lot of Ghanaians here are involved in business, and yes, money transfer and all these issues have become a major issue. But we understand there's a bank, a Ghanaian bank here.
Yes.
The Ghana International Bank. What does it do? What is its corporate image? Where does it stand in the structure of Ghanaian businesses? Well,
it probably is the largest Ghanaian business in terms of turnover, and probably the level of profits as well. The Ghana International Bank is now managed by a Ghanaian management team, and they have taken certain steps in the last few years to ensure that they reach the Ghanaian community. Ghana International Bank does not have bricks and mortar like some of the major banks that we have in this country. They only have a single building in Cheapside which houses the bank. However, by certain arrangements, anybody who wishes to save with the Ghana International Bank or transact business can do so on the internet, for example. You can make your lodgements through the various NatWest branches here. And then if you are banking with them, also they now have issued the plastic which you can actually access your money with in any HSBC bank. So I think Ghana International Bank is gradually making efforts.
Do they give loans to Ghanaians?
Well, I think that is a question you must ask them. But I'm sure it is part of their remit, because most of their business that they do has to do with Ghana. For example, most of the lodgements we made, the $1 billion, which for the first time, the year before last, we raised from cocoa. It had never happened, you know. That money passed through the Ghana International Bank. Many of the banks in Ghana use Ghana International Bank as their correspondent in this city. And they are also based in the heart of the city of London. You know, I don't think we could have had anything better than that.
So how do ordinary Ghanaians benefit? If I'm a Ghanaian student or Ghanaian worker in London, why should I be excited that there's a Ghana?
You see, Ghana International Bank, I believe, understands the processes and procedures which enables people to open accounts in this country. They understand our system. For example, they understand that not every Ghanaian lives on his own in a house. Most of the banks will require you to bring, for example, a receipt showing that you have been paying utility bills to show us evidence of residence. But Ghana International Bank, I think, are innovative enough to understand that Ghanaians sometimes live in pairs or threes or fours, and therefore all of them cannot have their name on the bills. But if, for example, the landlord or landlady can issue a statement saying that an individual is residing here, and the person can show, you know, an identity document such as a passport, Ghana International Bank, I'm quite sure, will be able to comply with the British law in order to get Ghanaians opening accounts. So because far too many of our people don't open bank accounts, they use third-party accounts. We don't think this is right. We're encouraging them to open accounts with Ghana International Bank.
So a Ghanaian is better off with the Ghana International Bank being here?
Every Ghanaian is better off with the Ghana International Bank being here. This is why the mission maintains its accounts with Ghana International Bank.
UK or Britain has taken over the leadership of the G8, and recently, actually last week, you were with the president in Gleneagle, Scotland for the summit. What happened?
I think a lot happened, but I will just concentrate on the areas affecting our country and our continent. I think there were three key issues for us. The first, had to do with aid, and the decision arrived at was to double aid, to developing countries, especially developing countries in Africa, which practically means the whole continent, doubling aid. The US has agreed to double its aid. The UK, and I must commend the leadership of Mr. Tony Blair and his government in this matter. They have been pushing for this for years. So we reached a decision, some decision was reached on doubling aid to African countries. The second area we had to deal with talked about debt. And we were pushing for the total cancellation of debt, especially debt to the multilateral agencies. I think there was some agreement on that yes, there ought to be debt cancellation. But I'm sure that because the debt cancellation involves the multilateral agencies, especially the World Bank and the IMF, the actual cutoff point will be determined when ministers of finance meet at the meeting in September in Washington.
So do we get money from them?
You see, it's not getting money, but you are saving money. Monies which ordinarily you'd have used to pay off your debt and service your debt. Those monies become available to use within the country. They become, extra revenue, which you do not have to spend on debt servicing. You can now spend in the poverty reduction areas, in health, in education, in rural infrastructure, and in our particular case, supporting the private sector to grow and create wealth in our country.
What did President Kufuor say about Ghana to the G8?
Well, President Kufuor, as you know, was the spokesperson for Africa on two main issues. One, the cancellation of the debt, and two, on governance. I think it is recognized internationally that our president has been a champion of democracy, the rule of law, and good governance in Africa. And he spoke to the subject. And I dare say that any Ghanaian who was privileged to listen felt very proud that we had a leader like Kufuor who is respected in all international fora. The African leaders themselves realized that they had a real champion when it comes to the area of governance. And many people are giving us credit because we offered ourselves as the first subject for the peer review mechanism, along with Rwanda, I must say. And peer review, as you know, is a completely new concept in international relations. And here we were offering ourselves, so that our own peers will mirror to us some of the things that we're doing. And I thought that was the way the president put the case was fantastic. It was good for Africa, and I know that it's going to be good for our country.
I see. Back home in Ghana, there's been allegations against you from a young man who is alleging that you have kept some monies belonging to him.
Well, I really do not understand those allegations. I do not know the young man. It's a subject that I would rather not discuss. But let me make a few comments. What I want to say is that I believe in a free press in any democracy. I think a free press can actually promote a healthy dialogue in our economy, in our country. But a free press has responsibilities, and the responsibilities are to be truthful in whatever they report. I have instructed counsel in this matter because I believe that my integrity has been impugned. An effort has been made to undermine my hard-won reputation, and I think that the civil libel laws of our country should be able to give me redress. All I will say is that we can have a free press, but we must have a responsible press. Press must be able to give our people the truth and let our people discern truth from falsehood.
Your Excellency, you've been here for 5 years now as High Commissioner. Do you think Ghanaians are happy with your work?
Well, I've not been here for 5 years. I'll be 4 years in September. And I am satisfied that I have worked to the best of my ability. It is not for me to say that Ghanaians are satisfied with my work. I believe that as a journalist, you should go out and talk to the 120 Ghanaian associations that we have established here. You can walk in the street and talk to any Ghanaian, and they will tell you that during my tenure here, I think that I have been able to raise the profile of Ghanaians in this city and to bring them closer to our government and to give them a clearer understanding of government policies and where we are going as a nation. In that sense, I think that I have been successful. But it's not just my success. It is the success of the Ghana High Commission, and it is the success of the government which appointed me to this position.
Do you miss home, your business and all of that? Do you miss being home, party politics and all of that?
Well, every Ghanaian wants to be back home in Ghana. I'm not different. I'm just an ordinary Ghanaian who has been entrusted with responsibility to work for his country outside Ghana. Of course, I miss home. And I hope that after my tenure of office, I'll have the opportunity to go back home and do what I do best.
Which is what?
Which is serving my country in any other capacity, whether in private business, as I have done in the past, or whether in public service. I do not know what the future holds. Can you look into the crystal ball?
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure
speaking to you.
Right.
Thank you.